Okay, guys, and good morning. We are about to talk about how to know when to buy and sell stocks or avoid getting into those stocks overall on your specific chart trading time frame. This is within a series of long educational style videos that I started making last weekend to put together a whole playlist showing you how to read candlesticks, how to understand your trading strategy, how to know how to calculate your volume and all that good stuff like that. Check those out all the way up into how to build your watch list. And then tomorrow I'll also make another one of those ones showing you how I put together the next watch list for stocks for the week, for stocks that are in the safe, easy, early seat, making those 52-week lows and oversold. Okay. Talking more about today's topic for this video on how to know when to avoid buying into stocks, or if you are already in a stock, how to know what your price targets are or when to sell. Just subscribe to the channel and don't miss this, okay? If you were seeing the last ones, as you recall, these stocks do not start out at the top. I showed you how to notice if a stock is at the top, how to know when a stock is at the bottom, understand the difference between oversold and overbought, and how to calculate in your specific key statistics like volume and free float and market caps and whatnot to know what that next stock is about to do. So we can just use almost any random example if you've seen those last videos, as you are already caught up to everything. And I'll just show you any one. I don't know. Let's click on RGTI real quick, and we'll be seeing things like RGTI, for example. If you are the swing trader on RGTI, if you recall the last videos, or the 15-minute chart or the 1-minute chart day trader, then of course you'll be seeing people lock in gains at certain heights. Where, you might ask? Notice how RGTI comes in for so many different bounces from oversold to overbought. Quick buy up from even some multi-day bull runs to a quick sell off, so on and so forth. This is on our 4-hour trading chart. Here, you're going to get swing traders who want to lock in gains. When that thing becomes overbought, those people who already look for those targets or already feel like they are at a position that they need to be, they're going to lock it in there. And notice on your 4-hour chart, we're looking day by day by day. Now, if we go down to RGTI on the smaller chart trading time, for like a 15-minute chart, then you'll be able to see for those day traders, they locking gains in between the days. Extra balance that you can hone in off a 1-minute chart. And it's all about seeing if it's oversold and overbought on your specific chart trading time frame and following along with the proper flow of the markets. Showing you the proper flow of the markets now so you understand what's coming up next in this very video. How we see we got over 4,000 decliners, which is crazy. And you got 2,000 advancers and a much bearish trend for the markets. If we hone in to see that the markets have been coming in for more bearishness, some quick spikes of bullishness in between, as usually the markets do open up with a quick round of bullishness because the people with the puts and the shorts and whatnot want to lock in quick gains. We'll talk more about all of that in the next lesson. So people follow along with the overall trend of the markets. Again, which is why I'm showing you the market conditions and now showing you the S&P 500s. With the S&P 500s pushing up to new highs, we have bigger investors and the big whales and the institutions and whatnot putting in millions and millions and billions and billions into the market for stocks and options and crypto. This adds to the sentiment. Although fear can be strong while things are overbought, it adds to the bullish sentiment when you see all the big whales and whatnot doing those and increasing price targets for the overall markets, especially for certain sectors. Now we can see that the market's overbought in our S&P 500s. Notice these last few red bearish days and whatnot that have been coming in. At times like this, longer term investors and maybe even some swing traders and whatnot, they might be trying to avoid getting in at a time where the market's overbought until they can see more clear bullish divergence that you can hone in onto a smaller time frame and then be able to see if it's going to make those moves for that specific day or not. More often than not, you usually get the markets to come in for more bullishness throughout towards like 2 p.m. towards the after hours and whatnot. You usually get the stocks to start coming in for reversals towards the after hours. So if you look at most stocks in that case, you'll be able to see them start to uptrend towards the after hours, which is a great time to be buying into if you are getting into an overnight swing. No matter what type of position you are getting into, even if you are on that a long term investment, but you might have some people who are going for that long term investment on the stock, and they might be looking to hold up something for weeks and weeks and months, maybe even years and years. But they'll still have targets, which is why when we see these things get up to overbought on a like weekly time frames, for those people who went for that longer term investment, me, I'm probably going for an overnight swing, maybe a couple days and whatnot. Some people will continue to hold in for the course of weeks. And in this case, how we're looking at CDIO, for example, months. And notice how CDIO gets up to the highs of $1.77. Well, that brings us back into knowing when to sell on your specific long-term swing trade time frame. If you one of those longer investors or longer swing traders, well, you be getting a longer time frame, like your weekly chart, and you can notice that quick wick, the top of that candlestick, and then you be able to see on your forever chart how that quick wick came in from 193 back down to about $97 overbought for a few days on a longer term time frames. And if you see your thing overbought on like our hours and stuff like that, and they staying overbought with more bullishness coming in day after day, in that position, then you can be certain that you got big whales and longer investors going for the stock projected to go even higher for weeks and weeks and weeks. Because most small retails already have a most traders in general already have a target and or an exit strategy plan. You know me, if you've seen the last videos, we talking about 7 to 15%. Anything extra is a blessing. And of course, you'll be able to see all the alerts going out in my section on when I'm buying or selling something. All of my moves are made along in my section to keep things documented and all that stuff like that. So and you're not gonna be able to catch them all. How you can see even CDIO for on these lists and stuff like that. You're not gonna be able to catch every single stock across the market. You're just gonna get what you can while you can. And in a case like this, where you can see people are selling off from 170 or from 190, from what was that at 190 something from 193, longer swing traders selling this thing off as they weekly charts are becoming overbought. But then you can go down to a monthly and see that CDIO still has a lot of room to grow. Now notice this key point right here where they're selling this thing off from this 177, this 190 range. That's the last massive sell off that happened before. So big resistance faces here. Notice how that quick wick at the top of that candlestick makes it up to about that 190 where that last previous big sell-off happened. That's big resistance right there. We're looking to see if CDIO, notice how now it's going on to a quick dip for them to buy some of that back up and then launch this thing back past those previous resistance points. This is how you're spotting out how far a stock will go and if it's going to hit big resistance or not. So when you see those things starting to hit that big resistance on your certain specific trading time frame, like your weeklies, your monthlies, for you longer investors and or longer traders, well, you might be looking to lock in gains around there and are bracing yourself for big resistance to be hit at that point. And then it's going to come down from there to your market conditions. Because if your markets are starting to turn red for what is here the last couple days now, bearish has been coming in and stuff like that. Well, that's gonna affect stocks, not only the penny stocks at those lows and stuff like that, but it's gonna greatly affect those stocks that are already overbought and at the top, things like CDIO. That's why it comes in for such rounds of bearishness in these last few days. Because the markets will turn bearish and then shake up everything. So in some cases, most people, you don't have to trade every single day. You can hold off, and no matter what, you're gonna have to hold off for a couple days eventually. You're trying to let things settle and whatnot and regroup and so on and so forth. But now, if the markets are starting to go into a bearish formation, maybe sometimes it's best, and some people do hold off from doing anything. Now, this comes down to being able to understand puts and shorts as well, because of most, when you get more used to the markets, then you understand that you make money going both ways. And then when you get a little bit more capital and stuff like that, then you start to feel comfortable with betting things in both ways. You'll even be betting some things long and some things short at the same time. You know, in one day, if you really get used to it and how you move and get control of your portfolios and accounts and whatnot. But that still comes down to most off understanding to see when you like to buy stuff and when you like to sell stuff. Knowing when to buy and when to sell. Now, me personally, I'm of course, if you've seen the last videos or been following along for whatever been going on, then you know, I'm looking at these things on the 52-week lows. This is pretty much leading my watch list. Now, these things at the 52-week lows are going to be the next ones to come in for big bull runs for the multi-month gainers on things I was just showing you, for example, like QMCO, things like CDIO. On another random one, I could pick any random one down here on things like UMAC. Notice how all of them go from a 52-week lows first. In fact, let's go down to a weekly chart, a monthly chart even. They all start at those 52-week lows. It just comes down to when they start that big reversal, if those stats match up to where they need to be, and if they have the fundamentals. Because if it's a low stat stock and whatnot, and it's getting picked up in that value, well, day traders are already going to be selling that thing off, especially if it doesn't have the good, strong balance sheets that make people want to continue to hold and load. Here, for example, on like UAMY, that has a very powerful balance sheet, and some of them have a wreck balance sheet. Those are things that you need to be looking into as well. And notice here on our last few month gainers, they're all looking like they got very powerful balance sheets. And if you are in at those at the lows, then you watch a wreck balance sheet at first, and then over the course of the couple quarters, as they come out with more news and catalysts and partnerships and get those millions of dollars and whatnot, then you watch their balance sheets increase. When they balance sheets start to increase and the assets really get over liabilities and their debt to asset ratio gets down, that's what really piques the interest of the big whales and institutions and long term investors and stuff like that because they see a lot of potential for the future and things like, for example, here on PROC. If you want to know what the next things to be going for is, you really want to be looking at that 52-week lows, and then again, understand if you're going for that for a swing trade, like me, because I'm just going for a swing trade on those things, and already getting ready for the next one to swing, so don't miss out on this. Or if you're going for a day trade, because if you catch it for a day trade, then you'll be able to catch it off of that volume, and then you'll be watching it on like your 1 minute charts, and then you'll be able to see if your 1 minute chart starts to spike up towards overbought pretty easy. And if it is, then you know it's going to start to face some bearishness up there. And then from your 1 minute, you hone out to your 4 hours and so on and so forth. But again, it all comes down to understanding your goal and your role, and everybody got different goals and different roles that they like to go for and stuff like that. So if you are brand new to the markets, to best understand when to buy and sell and get an understanding of all the different stocks and how they move, because they all moving different with different stats and different industries and different market conditions at some time, because the whole markets can be red like this right now. But then you got some industries that be getting bullets like semiconductors right now. So those are things to spot out as well. Things of the future will continue to climb up, and everything is not a company of the future. Just keep that in mind. Look into the 52-week lows. I'm getting ready to update what the next 52-week low lists are for upcoming swing trades into the next week. I'll see you guys there, and happy trading.